Oh, it's working. It's working. We
made it. Woo. Woo.
Good to be here.
Whoa,
Welcome to the party, pal.
Oh, thank you.
For those who don't know, this is a podcast between myself and my brother. We are the Loomer brothers. I'm Preston Loomer.
Who's that guy?
I don't know.
I'm Nathan Loomer.
And we are talking with special guest star, our dad, Kevin Loomer.
Good to be here.
So we talk about movies. We send each other movies to watch, and then we watch them and talk about them. And for this one, we asked Dad to tell us his favorite movies, and he's going to talk about what he liked and why he liked it.
Oh, I'm just going to click it off. Anyone you want? Do you want me to just list them off, or
no? So I'll go through.
Go from worst to best.
So worst, yeah. Worst to best. So is there one you want to talk about?
No.
In particular?
Before we start, let's just tell the five we watched were 5 movies: Harold and Maude, The Truman Show, Mr. Holland's Opus, Dead Poets Society,
and It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
In July. We watched It's a Wonderful Life in July.
Beautiful. You know, bells ring.
Yeah.
In July.
It's true, they do.
So angels are still getting their wings.
That is absolutely true. All right.
Yeah.
The first one I watched was Harold and Maude.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, since I'm the one who's got the notepad in front of me, we'll just go in that order.
Cult classic.
Yeah.
Actually opened poorly, and people didn't seem to appreciate it, but it caught on with a particular generation of people.
Yeah.
And it's probably, for me, one of the earlier movies that I've ever watched. And I watched it about 8 times in one summer, and that's probably the last time I've seen it. So yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, there was a time when actually my friend Steve Rutledge, who went there, said I looked a little like Bud Cort. I had that kind of
hasty white energy.
Yeah, and like a guy who would commit suicide several times. So that was but it's a strange little piece. If no one has ever watched it, essentially a young boy who who is obsessed with death and things that have to do with death, visits funerals just for fun.
Yep.
And probably not even just for fun, just to do it, to watch it. It probably doesn't even get a great deal of enjoyment out of it, but is obsessed with it, and who likes to stage his own suicides. And we get to watch him throughout the movie do this in a variety of ways. I could describe them in detail, but I won't go to that.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Into that.
I'm glad I finally watched this movie, because I thought my whole life I thought it was just about a guy liking an older woman.
Yeah. So he meets an older woman, a classic actress, Ruth Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely classic. If you have a chance to see Ruth Gordon in anything, I saw her in an episode of Columbo the other day, and I still enjoy her. Anyway, but who sees life differently, and he actually meets her at a funeral. He's there all dressed in black with everybody else, and she is carrying a yellow umbrella and comes traipsing through the funeral proceeding,
and then steals the priest's car,
and then so she develops and then steals automobiles, and is loves life and lives it fully, and so teaches this young boy about life, and they develop a relationship. An 16-year-old boy, I think.
Nice.
18. Well, anyway,
I don't know how old he's
young man, and a woman who is 79, and that's very important.
Yeah, she's 79.
79.
I wrote that down when I was watching. I was like, when his mom was like, "Harold, you're gonna need to get married." I was like, "Married? This kid's 14. Like how young? How old is this kid supposed to be?"
Kid. Yeah.
No, I thought I was not expecting a black comedy. Like I was expecting a romantic comedy, and so when it opens with a suicide, I was like, oh, this is different. Oh, this is not going to be what I thought it was going to be.
It is a different movie. It was actually hard to even describe what genre it was.
Yeah.
It does comic things, it does serious things, it does romantic things of sorts, but the romance is really, winter, summer,
very much so.
romance. And so and I just enjoyed it for all the quirkiness of it.
It was really fun. It was a good like oddball movie that I hadn't watched. No, and it has some really funny like moments in it that aren't expected, like when the funeral lets out and they're starting to process and the parade comes down the street and you're just watching this funeral like, oh, what do we? And I heard the marching band and I was like, why is there a marching band playing? This is really odd.
Yeah.
And then to just see like, oh, you didn't plan that the funeral and the parade are on the same street in the same day.
Yeah. So all those things, constant juxtaposition of ideas and thoughts, running at sort of similar speeds alongside of each other, and it ultimately comes down to a choice. How are you going? And that for me is what I like about this particular movie. Look, how are you going to live your life? And you'll see kind of this theme in a lot of the movies that are my favorites. How are you going? What choice are you going to make today about how you're going to live? Are you going to continually obsess on death and things that have to do with death, or are you going to, open your eyes and understand that while yes, death happens and death is a part of life and it's going on, at the very same time, there are lots of things that are inviting you to live. And what's I don't want to spoil this movie if anybody wants to go.
No, we spoil them all the time.
It's but what's then that surprise when this woman who has taught him about life and has taught him not to fake suicides commits her own suicide and actually does take her life, because she says once 80 is a good life. That for her it's like why go on past that. And so she takes her own life, and then we have that final moment where we think that he kills himself, and it turns out he doesn't, and so he goes off playing the banjo and playing a Cat Stevens tune. If you want to sing out, sing out. And it's beautiful. And so you get all these laughs and giggles and ooh, that was weird, and the going out on dates with girls and then committing harakiri in front of
she gets way too into it.
Girl, and she seems to enjoy it, and then of course those little moments where we hear from the priest and we hear from the counselor and we hear from these things that they throw in that so you get these quirky, fun surprises that make you giggle, but then you walk away going, there might have been something important.
It's probably, something like it. Well, I guess then the question I have for you is, are you a herald or a Maude?
I would like to believe that I'm a Maude. Yeah, I would like to believe that. I have my heraldy days, when I go, this is too much. But I if I had that choice, I would be Maude to somebody's herald and say, look, life is still exciting, and make a better choice. Live that way.
No, it's fun. It's quirky. It's like kind of adorable in a really weird way. And it's really the only. It really, Bud Cort tried some things after that and didn't. His career wasn't that successful at all as an actor. First of all, he had just that weird look to him. So he's never. It was weird to try to figure out what kind of characters he would play, and ended up playing villains and kind of weird, quirky people, and then didn't. There you go. Kind of disappeared. So this is really his only. This is probably his piece. Cool. Any thoughts, Nate?
I like that, because I was thinking about that. I said, I know she's a big actress, but when I watched this movie, it was like watching a new movie with a bunch of like unknown actors for me, because they don't. Yeah, all these actors haven't
Yeah.
really started anything else. When I look them up on IMDb, and I'm like, why do I not
They don't know
anyone?
anybody.
Anyone?
You'll see. You'll find Ruth Gordon in a
Yeah.
lot of things, but she has these, like
Little,
like Every Which Way But Loose. I think she's in there. She's plays with the orangutan and those things in there. But
yeah, no, I think it's just it's a good, like, cute little thing to watch when you just you want something that's kind of light, but also has an edge to it.
it has something important to say.
Yeah, and it is funny. It's it's a very dark comedy, but it is very funny.
Yeah.
Him burning down everything and then looking at the camera with that just like mug.
And of course turning the Jaguar into a hearse. Yeah.
But like, let's be real. That's what Harold should do.
He should
do auto detailing. That was so good.
It was a good piece.
Yeah. All right, Harold Maude, see it. See it. All right. Let's see what else. What's the next one?
Seen it. Sorry.
Oh, no. Okay. It's a wonder. It's a Wonderful Life is the next one I watched.
Oh, you're gonna just go right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to skip, we can go to the other ones.
It's a Wonderful Life. It's
another movie that didn't do well.
Huh?
Another movie that did not do well.
That did not do well, but thank God for Christmas, right?
Thank God for copyright.
Yeah.
Getting expired.
No, it's of its kind. No, I mean we're going to talk about Mr. Holland's Opus here in a little bit, which is similar, and that's why I like it. But of movies of its kind, it is the go-to movie.
Yeah,
you go to.
It's
it's got all the any Frank Capra movie you watch, you'll see all the same actors. Yep. He had his crew of folks that he used over and over and over again, and you'll see them in there. But what can we say? A story of a man living his life, thinking he's not doing much, and then coming to the end. Well, he's not even near the end of his life. He's middle-aged.
Yeah.
And thinking, what have I done with my life? I've messed everything up. All the plans I had, all the things that I wanted to do never really came to fruition. I made the mistake of getting married and having kids, and now I'm stuck in this life in this small town. I never got out. I never did the thing, did the exploring that I said I was going to do. Never did any of that. What was it all worth? And then, of course, and this one does it miraculously. It does it kind of in the same way you would see, like in A Christmas Carol, where spirits come, but in this case, kind of a bumbling angel, and comes and shows him that you really want to, because he makes the mistake. Well, not the mistake, but it comes out of his mouth is, it'd probably been better if I'd never been born, or if I'd never existed, right? And so Clarence, the angel, gets this idea, says, okay, let's go look at
see what that was.
And it's classic butterfly effect, right? Let's go back and say we killed a butterfly thousands of years ago now, right? And what would this place look like? Well, let's say you didn't grow up in this town, all right? And you might think that helping your kid brother get out of the ice because you had an accident well, but he would have drowned, he would have died, boom. And he this guy wouldn't have been in the military, and then there were a whole bunch of people on a transport that would have been killed because he wasn't there to save them, being a military man, and little things. So it's like that pebble dropped in the ripple effect, and what happens. And this man beginning to realize, oh my gosh, I doing absolutely nothing as far as I'm concerned. I had a huge impact. And for me, that's a huge message, right? You don't take anything for granted that you're doing. Don't take any life that you interacted with, anybody that you saw. You will have a huge ripple effect, and it doesn't take a lot.
No,
I mean, it just for gosh sake, just take your shopping cart back into the into the grocery store.
There you go.
It will make a difference, right? And sure.
Yeah.
Some guy won't have a job anymore at Safeway because that was his job, is putting the carts back, and he'll be ruined, and then things will
Will but then he'll lose that job and go have to find a new one that will
right, and he'll become a dancer
Yeah.
and have a huge influence.
That's how Baryshnikov got started. Some guy took his shopping cart.
So that, and it takes 3 hours. It's a long movie.
It's a long. It's a marathon.
Yeah, we don't even see what life would be like before he was born until the last half hour of the movie.
That's what's so interesting is everybody thinks of that movie as the last 20 minutes of it, but it's not. It's almost like a biopic. Of this average guy.
When do we get to anything?
Well, and at the same time,
exciting?
it's such a Christmas classic now, but really it's not. Like barely any of it actually takes place at or around Christmas.
No.
And I feel like you could take Christmas out of the movie.
Yeah.
And it would still be the same movie.
Who cares? We'll just have a dinner at George Bailey's house.
It's just like a random,
everybody's invited. Except you need the bell on the tree.
Yeah, but you can have a bell on. You can have a bell on a tree. Even a wind chime or a doorbell, or there's other ways.
There's other bells that can ring.
This movie does have. Maybe it's because it's nostalgic. I've seen it so many times. One of my favorite shots in movie history. I love the pool scene. I don't know if something because there's nothing like that when you watch old movies. Of it just seems like chaos.
Yeah.
Like how do they find the space?
It's nuts how they do
And have you ever seen a gym floor that opens up to reveal a competition swimming pool underneath? Where is this high school in this small town, and how much money did they have?
That's why the town hasn't expanded.
Yeah, we wasted all our money.
That's I mean, it was a different time.
Oh, and let us not forget, we just have to we got to make mention of Ernie and Bert.
Yes,
Ernie and Bert, who Ernie the cab driver and Bert the cop. Who are Ernie and Jim Henson took their names and made Ernie and Bert.
The most famous Ernie and Bert,
after them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, there's some funny, and it's like it's one of those movies that has a timeless feel, but also you can see the age. Like there's those edits where it's like they're doing a scene and then suddenly it just cuts to the same scene with just they're suddenly in slightly different positions, and it's like somebody messed up. Yeah, and some of the, but I actually think that some of the cinematography, like I miss the sort of old style of like when they use the shadows and the black and white, and you don't see a whole lot.
Right. And they don't light everything.
Yeah.
They just like somebody's eyes.
Stuff like that.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it's such good little stuff, and it is like, I mean, it's a long movie, and a little bit of it, the middle section's a little hard because you're watching George kind of go through it.
It can drag down.
But then the ending always like
get up, go to the bathroom, come back.
The ending every time for me just pulls it back out of that. It's just like it was worth all of the like. This is a tough thing to sit through.
I saw it for the first time when I was in college. Right? I'm a college age kid, and it made me cry. I mean, I believe it. All these other than Harold. Well, even Harold and even him playing the banjo at the end, the movie. I think that's all these movies. If I had one thing that they have in common, is when you get to the very end of the movie, I just go, "Oh my God!" I mean, they do this beautiful summing up of everything, and I just, "Oh my God! Oh, I so want that."
Right.
And I live for that. That's what I want my life to be.
And then they go beat up Potter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
The other Harry Potter. I was saying it's funny. I was watching it though, and Jimmy Stewart ages pretty progressively. You see the age, and then the last between when he finds out that Uncle Billy lost the money and when he gets home, he ages about 20 years.
Right. Yeah. He gets very gray.
He's suddenly very gray and very like, bags under the eyes. And I was like, what happened?
Yeah. Wow.
How stressed out was George Bailey for those 3 hours?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. But Mr. Potter starts old and just stays old.
He's just the same. Yeah. He doesn't get any older. Doesn't get any older throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And because I would be naming my first daughter, if I ever have one, Zuzu.
gosh.
We've decided on a middle name. It's Zuzu Kronk Loomer.
Kronk. Zuzu Kronk.
Just really.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that kid is gonna love you and never want to be angry at you for that ever in her entire life.
Yeah.
She will never be like, Dad, this was a bad
It's so like
choice.
she can't go by her middle name. She's like, I have to be Zuzu.
She's just gonna be like, she's gonna say it's pronounced some other way.
Kronk.
Find her way. Cool. Any final thoughts? Any other?
All right, you have a long list.
Oh, we talked about half of them. They're just like,
What's
I just
good?
write what I think.
Okay.
You know.
Right.
What's
Some
about
of
the
it's-
squirrel though?
Oh, I was saying Uncle Billy's like Dr. Doolittle. He's just got
Oh, yeah,
squirrels and
with
ravens.
the animals.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, he just has
Yeah.
animals all over it.
Quirky animal guys.
Yeah. No, I just think I think it's good, and I think the ending is so powerful. But I would argue that it is as much of a Christmas movie as Die Hard is.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that when we do other movies. Cool. Going off of that,
What did you watch next?
Mr. Holland's Opus.
Oh, then
Same movie.
Same movie.
Skip it. Next.
Next, all right.
It
moving on.
is. It's the same movie. Except, yeah, rather than being a guy who takes care of a savings and loan in Bedford Falls, he's a
Music teacher.
music teacher. Well, he's a musician.
Mm-hmm.
He really is a composer who hopes, and hence the name Mr. Holland's Opus.
Yeah.
And a man who wants to write music, but unfortunately, again, wife, kids, do life.
Yep.
Got to make a living. Got to do something. Ends up teaching in a high school for 30 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, high schools are wont, the students come through.
Yeah.
Year after year after year, he teaches them. Although I got to tell you, brilliant that his son is deaf.
Yeah.
What a man! I did not see that coming.
No, I didn't.
No.
And so it's not just an average life, but that this guy who loves music and is excited maybe to do music with his kids and all of that,
Can't do it.
and can't do it because his son ends up being deaf. And the scene where he goes to the Academy for the Deaf and asks them, how do you communicate music to deaf people, and how do you do it visually, and where he puts together a concert specifically for people who can't hear, and then sings the Beatles tune, the beautiful to his son. What a moving moment in that particular movie.
I didn't realize that the whole movie there's like a looming presence that that the school is going to shut down the music department. From like the first time he starts teaching throughout the entire like I don't know 40 years
30
years.
Yeah. And music is going to go away. And the reason he's going away is and what's those oh, it's a movie. Okay, let's say that. But what it's so stupid is then they have this, of course, what I call the "It's a Wonderful Life" moment, or the Mr. Holland's Opus moment, when every student, every person who he influenced, and again that he spent time with through his career as a teacher, comes back, or there in that auditorium. So this auditorium is packed with people who love him and are, if you will, evidence of what he has done for folks and what music does for people, right? Including the mucky mucks, you know, the principal and the people who were all about shutting this thing down. And they were invited. They knew this thing was going on, and yet at the same time they're going, what you're doing, it's not that important. You go, really? and then of course all the students play his composition that he's been writing throughout the play.
My wife walked
movie
to the last like half of the movie, and I remember she just turned to me and said, how shitty for the drama teacher and the art teacher who also got cut and who are at the assembly. Let's honor this guy, but not these other people. No.
But he still gets it, and again, it resonates with me more so as I'm getting older and older.
Oh, yeah.
And I also teach drama. So I'm asking the same questions, have I touched lives? And I think it would be cool if everybody on the planet would get a Mr. Holland's moment.
So too. Yeah.
To just forget about those tributes they give you after you're dead.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's
Get
like,
it before.
look, I'm near dead. Could we get all these people together in this room,
Like a pre-funeral.
and say, here are now. You don't want everybody, because there are people who don't love you.
Yeah.
but the people who love you and who you've had a positive influence on,
Yeah.
to get them all together, and that blesses me. I love the Rowena section of that, where it looks like he has a student who really enjoys what he's teaching and embraces it, and it looks like there might be a small affair, but it turns out that he's a better character than that.
Yeah.
And so it's got these great moments throughout to keep you involved and leaning in to this man's life.
That's good, like grounding and then uplifting.
Yeah. I will say this about the movie. They did a much better job, and you talked about the George Bailey turning gray.
Yeah.
They did a great job with Richard Dreyfuss's makeup and aging him. But everybody else, it's like, no, we spent a lot of time on Dreyfuss. We don't have a lot of time for you. Let's just throw a little gray in your hair.
I remember.
You're
Yeah,
older.
I remember that. I was like,
the PE teacher just you don't.
Well, and even they get to the end, and his wife looks like she's about 10 years older than when they started the movie.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 90.
Yeah.
He looks like Richard Dreyfuss now.
And that's the thing I was gonna say. I didn't realize the makeup was to make him look younger. When I watched the movie, I thought that's how he looked, and
No,
so he looks like the older.
He was about 50 when they shot that.
Yeah.
Fun fact: the guy who directed this, the other big movie he directed, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Well, excellent.
So there you go. Now
You'll be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other. Also, a movie about people who do music.
Yeah.
Excellent.
There you go. Excellent. I can't stop saying excellent now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. No, it's good. It's got some good, character actors and people that you wouldn't see. It's got a young Forrest Whitaker and a young Terrence Howard in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
People that
Terrence Howard. And then what did she do? Like the girl who played Rowena. She was on she was in that Yes Dear. She was on that. It was a series on TV called Yes Dear.
Okay.
And she was great in that. And all of a sudden her name something. She's got 3 names. Something Jean. Something.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's what we're here to talk about.
If you're listening, I don't remember your name, but
it's all right.
I liked your performance.
No, and this is the movie too that taught me what the 21 gun salute was, and I still have that moment.
Oh, you go boom, boom.
Well, there's a moment we were. Because we were living behind. We were living in front of that funeral, or in front of that cemetery, and they had a funeral for a soldier, and they did the 21 gun salute, and I just remember Mom pulling us down and being like, get under the windows.
Right, because we're back in Pasadena, where they had guns.
No, we were here. I
know what I'm saying. It suddenly flashbacks.
Yeah, we were just like, stay down, and I was like, I think it's like that thing from Mr. Holland's Opus, Mom, and she walks up to the little path up to the cemetery and looks over, and sure enough, there's soldier's funeral.
Did they fire real bullets at the funerals?
No, they fire
okay, they're blanks.
Like,
where do they? I always thought as a kid,
where do the bullets
land?
Go?
Yeah,
you fire a real bullet, it's gonna hit something.
You learned something today.
Okay, yeah. There you go.
We are educational.
No, they did it. They did.
Sorry, I get close to the mic when this is important.
No, they did a thing. I don't know if it was Mythbusters or one of those other shows where they showed that if you shoot a bullet into the air, it's going to come down somewhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to know. I think it's such a good, and I think we all want a Mr. Holland.
We all
in our
want
life.
We all want it. Yeah.
We all want that person who shows us what we're, who shows us that we're worth something when we're younger, who leads us to be the governor of Oregon.
Right. But here's the thing I've discovered about It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Holland's Opus. All right. Yeah. And these guys, and of course, this is the way the movie's set up. when they get to the end, it's a surprise.
Yeah.
It's a surprise. You have to live life like that.
Yeah.
The moment you go, I'm going to do a good deed
Yeah.
so that I can start a ripple effect now. It screws up.
Yeah.
You just got to be living your life and doing the best you
Do
can.
genuine stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do it to do it, not to get something out of it.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other final thoughts?
No.
Cool.
It's okay.
Yeah,
with all of them.
It's an alright movie.
Okay.
Number 4. What did I do? Oh, Dead Poet Society.
Seize the day.
Oh, Carpe Diem. This one. Oh, first, rest in peace, Robin Williams. Like,
Which makes the movie a lot harder to watch.
It makes the movie prophetic. And I just watched it here like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I went, did he know? Did he? I mean, yeah, right. It was, whoa. There was so much in that movie that was so wrapped around those last days of Robin Williams' life. It was,
so much.
I'm speechless here just for a second. But yeah, Robin Williams, man. What? And it's interesting because Robin Williams, of course, is the catalyst to the lives of these young kids in Dead Poet Society, and is the one that tells them seize the day. And he's this sort of unorthodox prep school instructor who gets a hold of these kids and takes them outside and plays soccer while they're learning poetry and all those types of things, and introduces them to getting together in the cave and doing their poetry and doing all that. But really, Robin Williams isn't a huge part of this movie. You don't see him a lot.
Yeah.
And they do a nice job of those students are as integral to this movie as Robin Williams, but we remember him again because he's the catalyst.
Yeah.
But again, an important little message that Carpe Diem, seize the day.
And it
he does.
It finds a good balance between Robin Williams, like the Juilliard trained actor, and Robin Williams, the stand-up comic.
Yeah.
He has those moments where he does his voices and he does his little
right. Yeah. And he improv some of that stuff, and they said keep the cameras rolling.
Yeah, but it's so much more. It's so grounded and so it feels like somebody you could actually have in a classroom in some unorthodox way. And I remember when I first saw it in high school, so I was very much connected with the boys in the movie. And then this time, because I've now worked at a school as an educator, I was connecting more with Keating and I was thinking about it, I was like. And I do that. I'm the unorthodox. Let's go outside and do something weird, to get the point across teacher. And I actually found myself, butting up against administrative heads who are like, you have to do it this specific way because
got that.
We've had 100,000 years of study that have proven that this is the most effective method of teaching. And I'm like,
John Locke was a genius,
but except that these kids seem to remember more about what I do than stuff that some other people. I don't think this is quite it.
Right.
Sometimes he does teach the classroom like a drama class. It's I mean, it's probably because all actors in the movie. But you get that.
But I've been in English classes and poetry classes, and that's what they do. You get up and you do it. You gotta perform it. You gotta learn it. It's not designed to be just read.
Yeah. Rip those pages out. Rip them out.
I forgot. Spoiler! I forgot about the suicide. Until the house, until he got back, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Another suicide.
Another suicide.
Yeah.
These things. Yeah. Of the student, which I think is one of the probably the most important thing that I took away from the movie this time was don't take away people's freedom to do what they want.
Yeah, I've seen that a number of times, especially working with kids, of people. Their parents sort of saying, this is my expectation for you, and you're going to meet it.
Right.
And I don't care that you have your own personality. And that became my big teaching philosophy, is treat the kids like they're people before we treat them like they're students.
Right.
See what they are interested in and cultivate that if it's productive.
Absolutely.
They're interested in going out and stealing a bunch of stuff. Maybe.
I mean, if you have a measure of expertise, share it.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, because otherwise, teaching me a racket. Do what you want and find yourselves. I'll be having a coffee over here somewhere. I'll come back when you guys got it. But you know, there is a measure. I always say, you know, let them play, and every once in a while, you know, kick them back in bounds. You know, just but you know, things go too far. But the idea of exploring yourself and growing the impulses that you have as a human being. Now, there's danger in anything.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't a philosophy class. We're just talking about a movie. Yeah. But there's a danger that if you leave people to their own devices, you might have to go, like, don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Which happens in this movie, but and it comments on it, but don't. But apart from that, let people explore. Who they are.
Let them really just figure out what they're, and not just what they will like, but what they're good at.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, and then say for the suicide to come from Neil Perry, who's the sort of like the idealist of the kids, is the one who starts everything. He's the one you think is gonna to then inspire the Todd Anderson character who comes up and, you know, finally in that last moment gets the courage to be like, I see the value, and I see what I should have been doing all along. Yeah. And this might be my favorite Ethan Hawke movie. It might be.
Yeah, it's a great, because he's just wonderfully underplayed and subtle, but gosh, his eyes just tell the whole story.
You see a whole like,
so great acting.
Yeah, super good. Good.
Don't overdo it.
The weaker part of this movie, though, is I know everybody's had those experiences, but like the guy trying to get the girl. I found myself being like,
I don't really care about Knox.
Well, they do the thing that all they do is at the end, they just like, they hold hands and then they never bring it up again after the theater scene.
They don't set it up. Yeah. Well, I think it's a contrast of the idea is that you're going into the Midsummer Night's Dream scene, and Neil's getting to be an actor, and Knox is getting the girl, and Todd's starting to speak out, and all of them are sort of finding their voices, and then Neil's suicide sort of shuts everything down.
Yeah.
And brings them back to the reality that they are still students at this school, and they're still under this, you know, regime of liturgical teaching.
Yeah.
And why does every private school in a movie teach Latin? Every single one. Well, always got a Latin class.
Yeah, I don't. Latin was taught years ago.
I know. It was like
Latin and Greek.
Greek makes more sense.
In the primers. But I will tell you that the school administration itself was a little overplayed.
Yeah.
I mean, when they come in as a group and they all have the same stern face and they're like, "We are the establishment," and I was like, "Oh, come on, really? You don't have to do that."
Gotta sell it.
I can't believe the main like bad guy, the old, he's still alive. He's 105 right now.
Yeah.
He did a movie like 5 years ago at 100.
An actor, keep working. And then this inspired that great Community episode where there's the class where Jeff has to seize the day, and the whole class is day seizing.
Yeah.
I was like, that's
day seizing. I love it.
That's a class.
Yeah.
Why don't you do it? Day seizing 101. Great. Love this movie. Love it.
Carpe diem.
Carpe diem. All right. And then The Truman Show.
I keep forgetting that's the movie.
Also directed by Peter Weir,
yeah,
who did Dead Poets Society. Also starring a comedian in a serious role.
Yes.
Kind of a cool coincidence.
See, you know all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's because I Google. It's because I spend
Jim
time
Carrey. I know Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey's great. Yeah. Now, Truman Show. Talk to us about Truman Show.
Folks are familiar with the Truman Show. Truman Show is about a man whose life is a television show. And he doesn't know it. From the time he was in the womb, they had
Yeah.
in utero camera watching him grow, and everyone and everybody else in his life is a performing artist or produces this show. He knows like nobody from the real world except that girl who
escapes,
and the kid in the Christmas present that pops up once.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a
right.
show.
I'm on the show. All right, and so everything is geared to make what he's doing semi-interesting for people to watch, with good product placement from time to time. And his world is a huge studio. His sky is painted on, and the starlight is lit up electronically, and the moon is where Ed Harris hides. I call Ed Harris God in this particular movie. And what we see is how they were able to contain Truman in this world, and how to get him to believe that the world he was in was what life is, so that the show doesn't end, so that we can continue to watch him, so that he never says, wait a minute, I'm an actor, wait a minute, everybody's viewing me, right? But then things start to happen that start to clue him
into
my world is not what people have been telling me. And a light fixture drops in the sand, and a couple of phone calls that make him think, there's something beyond this world. And of course that there are two great moments in this particular movie for me. That moment when he walks out into traffic.
He stops it.
And he stops it. And he realizes, and you can see him, how as an actor I would process this moment. Because we as an audience are watching this, but as an actor, how do I process what the hell is going on here? But he realizes it's about me. It's all about me. No one, and these people are here to protect me and to manipulate me and to see to it that I keep doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. And this waking up moment when he says, this world is not what people have been telling me it is. It's different. And then of course the final moment when Ed Harris finally gets on the mic and starts talking to Truman and basically says, okay, you've got us, this is a world that we've created for you, but it's all there is. And then of course Truman walks out the door at the end and says, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And when I saw this movie in the theater, at that moment when Ed Harris begins to talk to him, and it pissed me off to no end, because, and I would liken the Truman Show in some ways to the effect that happens when you fall into a particular algorithm on Facebook. And you start to go, oh no, this world that I've created for myself is all there is. Is all there, and we all do it. I don't care if you think you're the good guys or the bad guys or whatever, and we all think we're the good guys. Right. But the world we fall into, we go, there's nothing else beyond this view that has been established for me by algorithms. And the fact that Truman is able to go, no, I think there's more, and I think it's outside that door, and I'm going. And you can't stop me. It's a powerful message from this movie. Again, comic, got lots of funny moment. The moment that the one actress says, "This is so unprofessional," and storms out, and But I really think it's an important piece.
I think it's really interesting, and I think looking at it now because in the 90s it was like science fiction, and now with all the reality TV that we have, it's like weirdly plausible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I'm waiting for the day that somebody goes, let's just watch a kid from birth to death.
Yeah.
And do this. And I was thinking, I was like, there's an absurd sort of suspension of disbelief you have to do to imagine that this is the first time Truman's really started to figure this out. Like how many, they can make a series of all the moments where he almost
right
gets the,
well, and they did. I mean, they did those, they showed those little clips of bloopers. Again, people coming on the set and disrupting. And of course, the whole thing they had to do with killing his dad in the boat in order to make him afraid of the water and afraid of exploring. And then that dad comes back. Yeah. And that hugely manipulative scene, which just made me go, "Oh, you dirty dogs!"
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
I will say this movie. I know they casted Jim Carrey and he couldn't do it, so they waited a year because he is the only person I could see in this role.
He's perfect.
I don't personally like him in a lot of serious movies because he is over the top, which is perfect for this character who you feel like they've manipulated to act this way.
They've shaped his behavior.
Yeah, and the way they shoot it with these like weird camera angles and these sort of odd lenses to make it look like that's a hidden camera in
under his bed, shooting up while he sleeps. Something weird.
Yeah, and then the only couple
mailbox cam.
The only couple issues I have is that the way they do the sort of history of the show dump with that interview with Harry Shearer in the middle. I'm like, it's a little slowing down to be like, oh, by the way, let's just fill you in on all the background of the movie real quick.
Yeah.
Right in the middle, right when Truman's starting to figure out, I think it could have been spaced better for me personally. That's just how I view it. And also I was like, poor Laura Linney.
Yeah,
she's doing a combination of long form improv and porn. For her entire life,
her entire career.
Yeah.
Must pay well.
And then when he goes nuts, and he's like becoming the sane one, and she has to keep convincing him like, going. You're crazy.
This is so unprofessional.
And then I had the question of if Truman dies on the show, is that a murder? Is everyone complicit in some sort of at least manslaughter plot?
Yeah. Interesting.
That and the fact that the bus driver couldn't drive the bus. They made those. I was like, you have all these actors filling these roles, but you haven't trained them to do.
You haven't cast somebody who can drive,
who drive the bus, who can steer And I know that. I was like, because especially now in these Hollywood, eras where you hear Tom Cruise actually learn to hold his breath for like 12 minutes to survive some.
Maybe he's like the producer's brother-in-law or something. Hey, he needs a girl. He needs a job.
They were doing a charity auction. He won. Come on the show. Get to do a guest spot as Truman's bus driver.
Yeah.
I love that. That's one of my favorite skits is the crew of Truman Show.
Yeah.
The guys like, and I gave him a burger today. I'll give him a burger tomorrow. You work at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like, I don't work at McDonald's. I'm an actor on a show. No, you manage the McDonald's.
You're a manager of
It's the funniest thing.
And there's this really good metaphor in this one of sort of man versus the system.
Yeah.
And, and the way that, and I think it's prevalent in the way that a lot of people are sort of seeing the world now of we're starting to realize that some of the systems we've grown up being told are good and right. And the only system are not what we were taught. They're different. They're, and everyone's reality is a little different.
Well, of course, I saw this movie having come right out of the pulpit in the Christian system.
Yeah.
Okay. And my, oh boy, yeah, I know you can create anarchists this way, but question everything.
Question everything.
Why the hell not? You know, why the hell do I have to do? Why can't I do it another way? Why? Who says that this is not the time or the place for this? Who says that this is right? And if I want to run into traffic right now, who is to stop me?
And I think that, I mean, I think that from my experience too, that like doubting and questioning what you've been told and what you know,
absolutely,
is like, for me, I know with my own sort of religious beliefs, it actually strengthened it. It made me go, is this the way? And then I looked at all the other options and went, nope, that's the one, you know?
Well, it's how we grow. It's how we evolve. It's how we move forward.
Yeah.
So we question traditions, question rituals. We question icons. We question all of that stuff and say, really?
Yeah. And if this is the Truman Show right now, this is too meta, and I'm not okay with it.
I see you, Ed Harris, up in the moon. I'm on to you.
I'm going to.
But are you on to me?
We got him. No, I knew it was too convenient. Now somebody's gonna watch this and be like, "It's all a hoax. Everything, life is fake." There you go.
No, it's not fake. It's a wonderful life.
Well,
Opus of a life.
Yeah. So a lot of themes in these movies that have to do with life and living, and of course, what I take away from all of this is be the best you can be.
The best you can be. Yeah.
Be the best you can be.
Be unapologetically yourself.
Right.
Good. Great. Well, thanks for telling us some of your.
Glad to be here. Well, thank you for inviting me to the party, pal.
Yeah, welcome to the party, pal. So we were talking about it, and we've decided that the next podcast after this, we're going to let you pick the category of movie that we watch.
Okay.
So you don't have to do it on camera.
Okay, I'm not
you can think about it, but you're gonna help us decide what we're watching. So if you want to make it weird and make us watch some real weird stuff, now's the chance.
Okay.
All right.
I'll come up with something.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it. And as our usual send off, Dad, do you have a movie quote that you're gonna kick us off with?
Just remember, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
All right. Have a good one.
Ding-a-ling.